Welcome to today's explainer. For decades, society has pretty much operated on this incredibly rigid, predictable script when it comes to relationships. People meet, they settle down, you know the drill. But what if that script is literally entirely wrong for a massive chunk of the population? Today, we're diving deep into a truly fascinating psychological shift in this visual analysis. We aren't just talking about the mere state of being single. No, we are peeling back the layers on the conscious, the deliberate, and deeply psychological choice of singlehood. It's time to completely reframe how we view relationship status.
So this brings us to a really profound paradox. Why do some people stay single, even when they have options? Think about it for a second. We are culturally conditioned from practically day one to believe that finding a partner is the ultimate goal, right? Like the absolute finish line of personal fulfillment. So when you see someone who has a full buffet of opportunities right in front of them, when they are perfectly capable of getting into a relationship, but they actively, deliberately choose to just walk away from the table, well, it really confuses people. It creates this massive cultural tension because it completely defies absolutely everything we've been taught to expect. And because it defies those expectations, society inevitably just scrambles for easy answers. Fear, bad luck, timing. We hear these all the time, don't we? We totally brush off someone's singlehood with these predictable, superficial excuses. We rapid fire these reasons, oh, they're just afraid of commitment, or the timing is just super off right now, almost as if we feel this desperate need to diagnose their relationship status as some sort of temporary affliction. We jump to these conclusions simply because it's so much easier than accepting that being single could actually be a deliberate choice. But honestly, according to the research, these assumptions completely miss the mark.
But if we slow down and push past those tired cliches, psychology reveals a much deeper landscape. It really isn't about fear. It isn't about a lack of luck. No, it is driven by a profound sense of emotional autonomy and self-sufficiency. There's this powerful, hidden current that guides the entire direction of their lives. We're looking at individuals who actually exhibit highly secure attachment styles, but they just have a remarkably low desire for romantic entanglement. There is a deeply rooted, incredibly complex psychological mechanism at play here, one that goes far, far beyond simply not having met the one. So we literally have to take a sledgehammer to those surface-level myths. To really wrap our heads around this, we need to unpack the actual psychological architecture of the intentionally single person. Like, what actually drives them? We're actively moving away from this outdated narrative of deficit, that deeply flawed idea that single people are somehow lacking or missing out on something. Instead, we're shifting toward a framework of deliberate self-actualization. These individuals are actively investing their time and their emotional energy into incredibly diverse, fulfilling networks. We're talking platonic friends, family, deep personal passions, rather than just funneling all of that energy into one single romantic partner. And the real crux of the matter is a complete paradigm shift regarding connection itself. The reality is, these individuals are absolutely not running away from connection. They aren't hiding away, terrified of intimacy, or dodging commitment out of some deep anxiety. Actually, scratch that. It's more like they are operating from a fundamentally different filter on what a relationship even means in the first place. They just don't view romantic entanglement as the default setting for human happiness. They see romantic partnership as an option, a nice addition, maybe, but absolutely not a mandatory requirement for a complete, thriving life. As researcher and author Dr. Bella DePaulo, who is a phenomenal leading expert on singlehood, notes so perfectly, it's not what most people think. The reality of this choice completely shatters societal expectations. For generations, we've treated prolonged singlehood as this sort of waiting room, a transitional phase you just sit in until your real life finally begins with a partner. But what if the waiting room is actually the destination? Recognizing that choosing to remain single is a totally valid, complete, and psychologically healthy stance, it changes the entire narrative. It transforms singlehood from a perceived deficit into an incredibly powerful, empowered psychological position. So let me ask you something directly. Have you ever doubted your own choices? Just take a second and think about your own journey. Have you ever felt the immense, heavy pressure of that societal script just pushing down on you? Maybe you were perfectly happy being single, totally thriving in your independence. But the constant questions from family, the media narratives, those endless stacks of wedding invitations, do they ever make you second-guess yourself? It's incredibly common to internalize that heavy societal pressure, right? You begin to wonder if something is fundamentally wrong with you, even when you're actually experiencing perfectly valid, psychologically sound contentment. And let's be totally honest with ourselves here. Have you ever doubted someone else's choices?
We all have that friend, that sibling, maybe that coworker. They are absolutely amazing. They obviously have plenty of options, but they remain perpetually single. Have you ever silently judged them? Found yourself thinking, man, what a shame. They're so great. Why won't they just settle down? Have you ever tried to play matchmaker entirely unprompted? We do this all the time. We unfairly project our own societal conditioning onto the people we care about the most. And in doing so, we completely miss the fact that their singlehood might actually be a deliberate, joyful, and psychologically profound choice. All of this leaves us with one seriously lingering question. Will this completely change how you see your own choices or the choices of those around you? Because once you really understand that choosing singlehood isn't about fear or bad luck or actively avoiding connection, but rather about a fundamentally different, completely valid psychological perspective on life and self-actualization, well, you really can't unsee it. It totally shatters those old biases and forces us to respect singlehood as the deeply fulfilling path it can be. I really hope this explainer sparked a new curiosity in you today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.